5 matches on the card, 1 groundbreaking news, and yet everyone on the internet is unhappy. This is your internet wrestling champion, you guys. Welcome back to another video, and tonight I'm going to be going over last night's WWE Backlash 2026. So without any further ado, let's get into it. Alright, I'm going to tell you right off the rip, last night's Backlash was a mixed bag. Like, all the storylines were pretty predictable, so it didn't make for edge of your seat entertainment per se, but the matches were pretty damn entertaining all the way through, and it was a pretty thin match card as well. There was only 5 matches, so it seemed like a good bite-sized pay-per-view following WrestleMania, but I had a lot of issues with it that I'll get into in a moment. So first up, we had Seth Rollins versus Bron Breakker. Now, as soon as the bell rings, Bron Breakker tries to hit him with a spear, which Seth Rollins immediately jumps over and starts bringing the fight to Breakker right off the bell. We have some crazy power on display by Bron Breakker, who continually hits him with suplexes, military presses, gut busters, and belly-to-belly suplexes throughout the match. Just insane athleticism by Bron Breakker. Now, the story of this match is whether or not Seth Rollins still has what it takes to keep up with younger, hungrier talent like Bron Breakker. And they do a good job in telling it, with Michael Cole and Wade Barrett constantly bringing it up and questioning the physical integrity of Seth Rollins as an athlete, because mind you, they both just came back from 5+ months of injury. This is Bron Breakker's first match back, while this is Seth Rollins' second match back. But Seth Rollins is the one that's looking worse for wear. And Wade Barrett even says, if you're an athlete, you know the older that you get, the harder it is to recover from such injuries, especially a rotator cuff tear. But as much power as you see on display by Breakker, we see a competitive amount of resilience by Seth Rollins, who just eats all these Frankensteiners. At one point, he gets up and practically no-sells the Frankensteiner and has a Hulk Hogan moment where he's just like convulsing and like, you know, he's hyping himself up. And the camera pans to Bron Breakker and he's looking shook, you know, he's on his knees it's immediately after the Frankensteiner. He hasn't even gotten back up yet and he's looking shook. He's like, what did I just wake up? Now, at 2 different points in the match, Seth Rollins hits Bron Breakker with a pedigree. The first one, he hits him, and he doesn't actually get to hit him with a stomp afterwards because Paul Heyman is distracting the referee. So Seth Rollins climbs out of the ring and gets a steel chair, and he predicts correctly that the Vision would get involved, and he makes short work out of Austin Theory and Logan Paul, and he just decimates them with the steel chair. And then as he rolls back into the ring, he gets caught with a spear, albeit a weaker spear, because Bron Breakker is getting right back to his feet and he only gets like 2 steps in and clips him with the spear. Now, after Seth Rollins miraculously kicks out of that first spear, Bron Breakker tries to set him up for a super spear, but as he's about to hit him, he actually gets countered into another pedigree. And this time, Seth Rollins does the right thing and he follows up. But instead of just hitting him with a normal stomp, he tries to hit him with an avalanche stomp and gets on top of the turnbuckle. And as he jumps off and tries to hit him with the stomp, he gets clipped by another counter from Bron by a spear, and he puts him away with the 1-2-3 for the W. Now, this match was very solid, you know, it was pretty high octane all around. It went a full like 18 minutes, so I can't complain. You know, this is like a C-League pay-per-view, and for what it was, I think it was pretty entertaining, and I agree with the decision. I think Bron Breakker winning was the right thing to do narratively for both people. Bron Breakker losing this match would have just killed any legitimacy he had spent the last 2 years trying to, I guess, recover, because the Vision thing only hurt him, in my opinion. So I think this was good damage control for Bron, and it plants seeds for a better story for Seth Rollins' climb back to the top, because now not only is he fighting to earn people's trust and respect again backstage, but he's also fighting to earn his credibility and figure out who the hell he was. Alright, next up, we have Trick Williams versus Sami Zayn for the United States Championship. Now, this match, I think it only went like 15 minutes, but it was short and sweet, you know, it did exactly what it was supposed to do, which was put Trick Williams over as the next big babyface, or soon to be, because he's only a mid-card champion, but you know what I mean. But yeah, throughout the match, I think it did a good job also in solidifying the heel status of Sami Zayn, because at one point in the match, Sami Zayn fakes a knee injury and uses the diversion to try to grab a kendo stick and beat up, or the candy cane, and beat up Trick Williams with it, and he gets stopped or thwarted by Lil Yachty. And at one point, he even hits Lil Yachty in the barricade with a haluva kick outside of the ring during the match, so that's a pretty heelish thing to do. But yeah, after being distracted by Lil Yachty, he gets back in the ring and gets clipped with a trick shot and gets put away with the 1-2-3. So we have Trick Williams retaining and defending successfully his US Championship against Sami Zayn for the second time, and he remains our babyface mid-card champion. Alright, so for our third match of the night, we have Danhausen and his mystery partner versus Kit Wilson and The Miz. Now, you already know how I feel about Danhausen. I said it in my prediction video. I really don't care for Danhausen right now. I've gotten fatigued from him already. He's a little too much for the time that he's in there. Please don't curse me, Danhausen. I still love you. But yeah, I was thinking that until I saw the match. He came out with a box and his clone turned out to be a dwarf. So he came out with Dwarfhausen. So it was Danhausen and Dwarfhausen versus Miz and Kit. And the match went on, and Dwarfhausen was actually very entertaining. This guy is clearly a little luchador. He was beating the shit out of Kit Wilson and The Miz. He was carrying the match for majority of it. And at some point, like 10 more dwarves come out from the box and and start beating the crap out of Kit Wilson and The Miz, and the referee does nothing about it. I'm pretty sure The Miz brings it up in the post show afterwards, but it just turns into a 7-on-2 handicap match, and Danhausen tags himself in, beats up Kit Wilson, and picks up the 1-2-3. So there we have it. 5-on-2 handicap match, and the winners are Danhausen, Dwarfhausen, and the 5, I guess, Dwarfhausen Juniors. I don't even know, man. Yeah. Now for the semi-main event, in my mind, the match of the night, we had Iyo Sky taking on her senpai, Asuka. Now this match was so entertaining, it was high octane, it was just two of the best wrestlers on the planet on either side of the gender spectrum, just tearing each other limb from limb. You know, the last year of just headaches by Asuka finally culminating into this 15-minute match, and boy did they deliver. They absolutely went at each other's throats. At one point, Asuka tried to hit Iyo with the miss while they were standing on the announcer's table, and Iyo picks up Wade Barrett's clipboard and blocks the miss. And she's like, yeah, just starts wailing at Asuka, puts her through the table, and then rolls her back in the ring and hits her with the moonsault and puts Asuka away with the 1-2-3. Now the real story actually is at the end of the match, the post-match, because when they're both on their feet, we have Iyo Sky facing Asuka and then bowing. Now if any of you know anything about Japanese culture, especially in wrestling, the bow is a sacred symbol of honor. You bow to your opponent, especially after a rivalry, to show like it's an ultimate sign of respect. So Iyo hits her with the bow and Asuka gets emotional. She starts just crying and she goes for the hug, and the whole crowd actually popped. That might have been the loudest pop of the night. I gotta replay it and watch it back, but I'm fairly confident that was the biggest pop of the night. Even I popped, and I was watching through the screen. My friends were popping. It's finally come to an end. I think Iyo Sky winning was the right decision, and Asuka, in an uncharacteristic display, gets emotional literally throughout her entire career. You've never seen her get emotional except for once when Becky revealed she was pregnant. So she gets emotional, raises Io's hand, bows to Iyo, and leaves. And now there's talks behind the scenes of maybe Asuka retiring. I think that's one of the biggest stories coming out of this PLE. So there we have it. Iyo Sky comes out victorious, grabs the win from Asuka, and Asuka turns face and hugs Iyo Sky, and they make up. So you love to see it. Next up, we have John Cena coming to the ring for his big announcement. Now there was word on the internet and everyone was buzzing thinking it was gonna be regarding the WWE club, and I personally, along with everybody else, would have been very unhappy if that was the case, because the way I see it, it's like pay for this subscription to get exclusive deals on an overpriced ticket for a poorly booked show. You know, like why hype it up just for that? But turns out, fortunately, that was not the case. And in a lukewarm reception, John Cena comes out to announce the first ever John Cena Classic. So it's going to be a tournament with both main roster talent as well as NXT talent, and they're going to be participating in a tournament for a brand new belt, which is apparently called the John Cena title. I really don't know how to feel about the name of that title, but I am happy about another tournament. And seeing as John Cena is the one spearheading this, I'm gonna give my GOAT the benefit of the doubt and put my trust in him, and hopefully he's gonna try to get together a really good tournament. Now, the one caveat to this is that none of the matches really matter. The outcome doesn't, because it's all voting based. So we as the fans have to go on the website and vote who we think is the John Cena champion. Now, I hear a lot of people saying this completely nullifies wins and losses, because it doesn't matter if you lose 3 matches in a row, because you can just vote that person as the champion. Which I agree in concept, yes, that is in theory correct. But if anyone's on the poll voting people who lost, those guys are just jackasses, you know? At that point, that just proves a voting system is just not good anywhere, because that says more about our community as a fan in my mind. Because why are we going on a community poll and trolling and voting for people who lost? And for the people who like the ones who lost, if it's based on their performance, you know, the wins and losses, yeah, for that don't matter, but there are going to be a fair share of people who vote based on both the performance in the ring, the character's charisma, and the track record of wins and losses throughout the tournament. So I think that wins and losses may not be the defining factor, yes, but I don't think it suddenly renders it null. I still believe it matters. You know, I want to give it a chance. I want to see how it reflects on the fans and what the consensus is as to who we think the next big star should be. All right, you guys. For the main event, we have the OTC and World Heavyweight Champion Roman Reigns going up against the Samoan Werewolf and nephew of the legendary Haku in Jacob Fatu. Now, for the majority of this match, it honestly was not very competitive at all. Like, Fatu was in complete control of the majority of the runtime, and Roman actually gets a little bit of offense in when he gets a Superman punch in, and he tries to go for the pin, and it doesn't even make it to a 1 count before Jacob Fatu gets his shoulder up and practically bench presses Roman Reigns off of him, and immediately gets back onto his feet and pulls a Seth Rollins pulling a Hulk Hogan and charges himself up and starts taunting, you know, like WWE 2K. He's just doing the taunt. And Roman Reigns is pulling a Bron Breaker. He's on his knees. He hasn't even gotten up to his feet yet, and he's looking eyes wide open, just like, what kind of demon is this guy? So yeah, throughout the match, it really goes how we expected it to go. Jacob Fatu is getting all the offense in, and Roman Reigns really has no answer to any of it. And at some point, right in the middle of the ring, Jacob gets him in the Tongan death grip, and Roman Reigns is like foaming in the mouth, and he just can't rip him off him. But he does rip something off. He rips off the turnbuckle's padding, and then uses underhanded methods to get Jacob Fatu to hit the steel end of the turnbuckle, the exposed end, and then clips him with a spear to put him away with the 1-2-3. With a very underwhelming defense, he actually defeats Fatu with, I think, only 1 spear, albeit with the exposed turnbuckle helping him. Now this is where things get interesting, because Jacob Fatu is the one that gets up to his feet first, and he looks like really like nothing happened. He gets back on his feet and he's incensed, you know, he's angry that he lost. Meanwhile, Roman Reigns is on the floor barely catching his breath, and an angry Fatu seemingly turns heel by attacking Roman Reigns post-match, and he gets him in the Tongan death grip again for like a solid minute, you know, without any interruption, until finally people from backstage come and rip him off. And that's not the end of it. Jacob Fatu starts beating up the people from backstage, the officials, gets out of the ring a few times, walks halfway up the ramp, only to come back into the ring and hit him again with the Tongan death grip and a couple moonsaults. Absolutely destroys Roman Reigns after the match. Now, the reason I say seemingly turns heel is because this isn't really a heel turn from Fatu. You know, he's always been dangerous, he's always been unhinged, and he's always been vocal about it. He's always said, I'm all gas, no brakes with it, you know? Like, what do you think that means? You think just because the bell rang, this guy isn't about fighting? This guy is all about the scrap life. And he's incensed because this guy used underhanded means. He did exactly what he did with Jey Uso, this time to Jacob Fatu, which is why I'm saying this isn't quite a heel turn. I think this is actually manipulation by Roman Reigns' end. I think he just played Fatu, used underhanded means, beat Fatu, and anticipated some sort of crash out from Fatu. And he's using that to twist the narrative to force Jacob Fatu to look in the mirror and question himself. And now he's turned the people against him because Wade Barrett and everyone is also saying like, this guy doesn't belong here now, you know? The officials, the people backstage are now afraid of him. So this is, I think, manipulation and strategy by Roman Reigns. It's a long-term play. He knew he was gonna beat him in an underwhelming fashion, and he knew he was gonna beat him in an underhanded fashion, which is why he set up this attack. And I think this is all part of the long game. So all in all, I would give this match particularly a C. I think it did what it was supposed to do, which was plant the seeds for their rubber match later down the road, probably in the next PLE. I think this was all manipulation from Roman, setting him up for the second match where he really puts the nail in the coffin and breaks Fatu spiritually and turns him into the bloodline. So there you have it, guys. That was my review on WWE Backlash 2026. What do you guys think? Do you guys agree with my take? Do you disagree with my take? Let me know in the comment section below. And I also wanted to take this time out to thank every single one of you for following and keeping up with my content. We're almost at 100 subscribers, and I feel like it's appropriate to say we because it really is starting to feel like a community now and an ecosystem. And I want this to be as inclusive as possible. I want you all to feel as welcome and as part of this as I feel, because this really is the goal, right? I might be your internet champion, but you're also my people, and this is a community. So to steal the words of Zeb Coulter, we the people. And this has been your internet wrestling champion. And if you like what you've been seeing, be sure to hit a like and subscribe, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace, you guys.